Hi everyone. Thanks for checking in. It's great that you want to learn more about the latest digital solutions that can help B2B sales teams excel and shine. Hi Jonas, founder of Space. Today you'll help us understand why sales manager should care about virtual sales.
Yes.
But first, let's start here. What do we mean with virtual sales?
I think it's a great question. First of all, everyone is talking about virtual sales, and so the first thing is to really see what we talk about. In all time, B2B companies have made business with each other through meetings, physical meetings in the past. And you know the drill. We have someone calling the client, we book a meeting, we go to the meeting, show a nice demo, and then there's another meeting and another meeting and another meeting until we eventually potentially close the deal. And if you take that whole process and you put that in digital technology, that is what I would say is virtual sales.
All the activities.
All the activities in the whole process, and where you can work both synchronous and asynchronous over the buyer's journey or the sales cycle. And synchronous, like if you're watching this webinar live, we are now in sync. We are here in the same time and space. But if you're watching it later,
watch it again.
Watch it again, asynchronous. That's what most buyers today, they say that they would like to do more on their own, which is typically something that is asynchronous.
Well, you're a sales person. You have a long sales history yourself. What's the longest sales cycle you ever experienced?
My longest sales cycle is 48 months selling ERP software to manufacturing company who's doing trucks. So that's a long sales cycle.
That's a really long one. Because you've been working with B2B sales for over 20 years. You've been training sales teams. You've been lecturing all over the world. What are the new digital opportunities that really excite you?
I think the digital technology makes things that used to be impossible possible. And the first thing that I think of is efficiency. We have been working with efficiency, you would say now, we have been working with our CRM system to optimize the processes and so on and so forth. But when we go to what we call virtual sales, that's not about the CRM system only. It's the extension from the CRM system all through the interaction with the buyer, which means that if we could raise the efficiency here with the help of digital technology, making the pre-time, prep time, preparation time, or time post the meetings and in between, if we can make that like 30 minutes shorter, that's efficiency. Every time. That's time efficiency. Second is cost efficiency. And myself, I was commuting back and forth to the US every second week, actually.
From Sweden.
From Sweden, and that's both time consuming, but it's also consuming a lot of cost. An average business trip in the US, domestic, is over $900, which means that it's a tremendous amount of money that could be saved if we go to virtual sales. Third is the CO2 emission, which is obvious that we see right now that the big companies, the large corps, they are trying now to cut their business travel in half just for the sake of saving CO2 and cost and time.
What else are the opportunities in terms of ways of working, improved ways of working?
I think the second thing that pops up in my head is about alignment. We have tried to align the Salesforce in Salesforce, maybe the CRM system, or in HubSpot or Dynamics CRM. We have tried to align them to a process, but that's only one part. So what if we could align the organization in doing the same presentation, the best of breed one? If they could do the meetings in exactly the same way as your absolute best top performing artist within sales in the organization.
And why, Jonas, why do digital tools enable us to do that? Just so that we understand. Why do they help us align?
So from a practical point of view, digital technology can help you deploy that kind of. You can build templates where you have content that is already preloaded, which helps the sales organization to show exactly the right presentation. I think that maybe you have had the scenario at some time where someone was running a very old version of the PowerPoint presentation or the keynote, and someone else was running this, and eventually there were 48 different versions. What if you had one place where you could just deploy it, and then you can follow up both that it's used, but also the feedback from the customer of what they believe about the agenda and the content that you provide. So I think alignment, both in how we do meetings, like the agenda step by step, but also in content and also in process when we meet customers. So we take the sales methodology that you have in the organization and we just deploy it into digital technology. That is what we can do.
And the third opportunity, I guess, because that's an opportunity everywhere, is data.
Yeah, data.
That you understand more about your processes and you can really you can improve efficiency and quality even more.
Yeah, we have done it all over the place. Data, data, data. When digitalization came to the table, everyone was looking for data, the new gold, right, or the new oil, as long as we refine it and make something out of it. And now with new modern technology, we can gather data of what the buyer is doing while we are asleep. We can gather data of what the sales reps are actually doing in their meeting, at least with some kind of technology that for example, Space brings. So we can really get a visual all in through the process of the customer interaction. And with that data, we could take that and we can align it with perhaps the feedback from the customer that could be automatically triggered in the platform, so that we can say, these are really our top performing artists in these first meeting, second meeting. And then we look at the ones who's having a little poorer performance. Then we help them with the help of coaching from this data and play the recording for them.
So they're learning opportunities and training opportunities.
There's a training opportunity and there's an optimization opportunity that we have never ever had before, honestly.
Maybe a few of you were thinking, what about the customers? What are the benefits for them? What's your best argument here? Do customers want this?
Yeah. So we have heard over the years. I can't even think of how many reports I read about how much the buyer would like to do by themselves. They do more and more and more of the buyer's journey by themselves. The latest Gartner report I read was saying that the buyer only spends 17% with different sales vendors, and the rest of the time they do it on their own, which means that the buyers want to have a synchronous but also an asynchronous way of interacting. And right now, most companies have the asynchronous way of somewhere out there. We are shipping material, we transfer emails and back and forth, and eventually potential that something happens. But what if we could gather that one and we can keep the control over that, and we bring simplicity to the buyer? So if they have a no threshold kind of thing where they just click and they get into the space where they have everything, I think they will love it.
A few of you who are watching might be sales managers, and you're curious again about why should you care about new digital sales technology? Isn't that a job for the CIO?
Yeah, in the past, and I've been writing books about digitalization, and in the past we used to go to the IT department. I think you done it sometime. You maybe go to the IT department and ask for permission to get something, but that is way off right now, because since many years we see that operations choose the technology that helps them, and they use IT or the CIO and their organization to help them. but it's your choice. And I think that is possible because of the cloud. Cloud technology makes it a simple click and try, where you can at 30-second really try whatever you would like to buy. And if it sticks, then you can go to IT and talk about integrations and security and those
And
kind of things.
scaling up.
And scaling up, exactly.
So you've spent the last 18 months building a digital service, building space that can radically improve the performance of any sales team. Can you briefly just give us what are the 3 benefits that you see with space?
I could give it to you both from my own eyes and from every single customer that I meet, because I do this for a living, right? So we're eating our own dog food. We're selling space through space. So if I take it from my perspective here, when I get everything in one place, I open up a space for every deal that counts. And then I can follow the whole journey. And me as CEO of the company can follow any sales reps' journeys, so I get full visibility. Second, I get the best of breed kind of approach, where we can deploy. I have chosen what kind of agenda that I would like to have in a first meeting, and then in a second meeting, and then in a handover meeting to customer success, which means that everyone in my organization is actually using that, and we get the feedback from the customers, which means that we can align, but we can also improve and see, are we to tune a little up there, or is it some individual that needs to do some practice?
And thirdly?
And thirdly, I think it's the simplicity of bringing it out. So you can actually try it by yourself by a simple click. It takes 30 seconds to implement space, to have your own space. So I think it's a no-brainer in that.
This browser-based is really easy. I use it. It's very simple to use. Actually, I can assure you.
Yeah, and I think that what happens when I meet customers, and the first thing they ask is, is this a new Teams or are you a Zoom killer? No, we're not a Zoom killer. I think they do great, but it's so boring to be in those black dark holes of just a meeting. So we would like to bring something that is completely different. It's both different in terms of the meeting, of course, but it's not about the meeting. It's about the space, the process, to be able to really raise the efficiency in sales, to cut off 30 seconds or 30 minutes. 30 seconds from, for example, a presentation, but 30 minutes from the pre-work before the meeting, and maybe 30 minutes post. You know, when the customer comes and say, hey, can you send the material? Can you send the customer, can you send me the recording of this meeting? Everything is in the space. So we save time, money, and CO2.
Some of you might be thinking, I want to believe this, but I still feel, because I have an experience from working with digital tools since way back, that yes, but can digital meetings ever be as hassle-free as meeting face-to-face? What do you can this really be as smooth as us being together in the same room?
Yeah, I think that everyone has experienced, either as a buyer or a seller, the hassle of doing screen sharing, to try to play a video over Teams or Zoom or something, and to manage the agenda where I'm flipping up and down my PowerPoint presentation to show. All that you can forget, because with the help of the unique agenda functionality that we have built, that is really unique, because it opens the right cameras, the right presentation, right video, or external tools, all embedded in the meeting. So we can do whatever we do, and we never lose focus on each other, because we see each other all the time. So yes, I would
Because
say it's
that
a click.
pain is real. It's awful when you have to sort of fumble around. And
It is.
You've prepared and you want to look good.
Yeah, I want to look cool, right? But I think that in the organizations, in the sales organizations that I meet, there are so many that feel the anxiety in front of doing the screen sharing, showing my CRM system instead of the PowerPoint presentation, having the backup slides instead of the front end, those kind of things where I don't look cool, I don't look professional, you know, and sales would like to shine. That's what we do. We are representing our brand. So with a hassle-free, super shining experience, I think, from my perspective, it gives me a good feeling in my tummy.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. What can one do if one wants to book a demo?
Yeah, please book a demo with me if you like. Down here is my email address, and I'm happy to meet you and show it to you. And from that, you will actually experience what your customer could experience in a week or two, because we're eating our own dog food, we're selling space through space. So welcome.